Hey man.
You.
What's your name again?
Jens.
Jens?
Yes. You?
Johnny.
Jonny. Nice to meet you.
We were talking about different ways that different cultural beliefs that we held on to that had a negative impact on how we see the world and why we don't believe them anymore.
So for me, I feel like a deep shadow that I had my whole life was to prove myself, like the inner worth kind of thing. And always like I had to do something to like get validation from someone.
Yeah.
Maybe from my parents, from my friends, from women. And as long as I had this, I always had this urge to take action to get this validation. And no matter how much validation I get from it, it never fulfilled me from deep within, you see. So
Yeah.
it was always this never-ending loop of trying to find validation from other people.
Yeah.
Until the point that I really felt like, hey, I'm gonna let go of this need to always having to prove myself, and suddenly I start to see my own worth and like doing the inner work and like letting go of certain fears, and suddenly like I started to validate myself. And the moment I did this is the moment I stopped doing a lot of actions that were like guided towards this validation. So it's really freeing.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
I feel like it was eventually natural on my path to work on this, because it's a huge one. I see it in so many people, mostly men, but also women, of course. But men have, especially men, like for men, there is this drive to like show, like look, I'm here, how awesome I am.
Yeah.
It's coming from childhood already, you know, like you want to impress your parents as a child, you want their love. And if you're not aware of this, like you're gonna take this pattern into adulthood, and it's gonna be translated, it just, into adulthood, so.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. We were talking earlier, and I was talking about this idea of dominance, where men are subconsciously taught that they're, or at least I saw this pattern around me where it was taught that in order to get self-worth, you needed to prove that you were better than the people around you in a subtle way. It wasn't expressed like that, but I found that manifesting in my life, trying to be the best at whatever I was doing. I was trying to be the best athlete, trying to be the best team, and having so much emphasis on how important it is to be really successful, to be good at, like, to win, to be the best team, to be the best student, and the importance of putting in the effort, the work. And I think it's a kind of a subtle line, because it's not bad to work hard. It's not bad to have effort and to strive to be your best. The thing that is potentially damaging is when you start putting your self-worth and your identity in your success. And I now view activities as more of a collaborative process. If I can view striving to put my best effort in as a collaboration to better my community around me, I find that just to be a much healthier way of effort, a much healthier motivation, rather than just trying to, in some way, shape, or form, be on top or dominate the people around me. Yeah. So it's interesting. We were kind of talking about similar two sides of the same coin, even though it's like phrased a little bit differently. How would you say? How would you say you were taught this belief, and what do you think were the cultural things that caused you to believe what you believe, and growing up?
Good question. I think it's just, it's deeply ingrained in every human being. Like I said, like if you are a child, you need the validation and the love from your parents. Like it's a survival mechanism of your body. Like you need this. You need to see like, is my mommy loving me? Is my daddy loving me? Or else I can die. So it's like this deeply ingrained pattern. And yeah, of course, as a child, you're unaware of this. It's just, let's say, normal. But it can be very destructive in your adulthood. And I think it's part of spiritual evolution to eventually let go of this pattern and to really, to really find this insight. So yeah, and I think it's coming straight on from childhood, and at some point in your growth, like you're gonna naturally let go of this. I think.
Yeah. So it's one way to view it is maybe it feels like a healthy desire to show your parents that you're worthy of being loved, because we're dependent on our caretakers growing up. There is some need to try to prove our love to them, and humans are dependent for a really long time on their caretakers. That makes us unique. So what you're saying is that are you saying that we're, because we needed to be dependent on our caretakers for growing up, that created maybe unconscious beliefs of trying to prove ourselves to society outside of our parents?
Yes. So eventually, the way you said it is good. Actually, like you are dependent upon someone, and eventually, like if you really want to live your life, you should be independent of anyone. Which means that this doesn't mean that you don't need love from someone. Like receiving love from your girlfriend or from your parents is a beautiful thing. But if you're needy for it, that can be the destructive part.
I think we're good.
Yeah. All right. Don't worry, man. Don't worry.